When you go to college or university, it's exciting. You're learning your new career, studying your favourite courses, passions, areas of interest, or what you were best at. You come out of college with all these fresh ideas and enthusiasm. Now, wouldn't you want to share this passion into a company that is trying to save the world and humanity? Or do you want to go and work for a company that is synonymous with poisoning the planet, corruption, bailouts, lies, and poor quality products? Tesla are encouraging the fresh out of college enthusiasm, passion and motivation and letting them be creative. There's nothing that builds innovation more than creativity and nothing that makes us more creative than freedom. This is why a free economy will always out-innovate a command economy time after time. And yes, I'm saying that America don't make great cars. Of course, until we had Tesla. America is once the greatest manufacturing country in the world and improved our standard of living vastly with America's high quality of human capital and free market economies. But the auto industry became very complacent, and what we're seeing unfolding before our eyes explains a lot of why. The big three in the US, Ford, GM and Chrysler, created a huge moat, and it has kept all the competition out. Or has it? The Japanese managed to infiltrate the moat with more efficient manufacturing using robots, just-in-time delivery, and no unions. The Japanese cars were more fuel efficient too. American cars didn't need to factor in efficiency. Gas was cheap. I think the Cadillac Coupe de Ville at one stage had something like an 8.5 litre engine, if you'd believe it. But the oil crisis in the 70s changed all that, and gone were the days of cheap gas. But America has been using their innovation in technology. Outsource all the boring, monotonous, dirty manufacturing to China. Americans don't need to do all that. They can just keep inventing things with their innovation and focus more on technology, right? Well, no, not anymore. Tesla is showing us that it's actually not the case, and manufacturing itself is also subjected to disruption. In a way that American labour can compete with Chinese labour due to extra efficiencies and technologies in manufacturing itself. If this wasn't the case, then Tesla would have kept expanding the Shanghai operations and export everything from there. Of course, it's not just that simple as exporting, it's also subjected to tariffs. Anyway, Tesla has their choice of the pick from all the freshly graduated students, ready for the workforce. Well, Tesla and SpaceX, of course. Everyone wants to work for Elon. Looks great on a resume as well. These graduates they're hiring fresh out of college have been trained at traditional learning institutes with legacy systems. On top of that, the syllabus is likely out of date for the new future that Tesla is creating, a future that no longer has any use for fossil fuels, a clean future that runs on renewables, for a future that will see battery production increase perhaps 100-fold, a future where robots may replace a large proportion of the workforce, where AI will do much more for us, and the main source of power will be derived from photons generated for free by an enormous nuclear fusion reactor we have in the sky. We're making a new world here. We need a new education system designed around this new world, with so much new career potential. People fail to realise how early on we are still with the entire global transition to renewable energy and removal of fossil fuels. We've barely scratched the surface. This is going to be enormous, and of course Tesla is at the forefront of it all. What am I getting at here? What has Elon done again? Have you worked it out? We're hearing rumours that Elon has now purchased hundreds of acres of land near the Texas Gigafactory. Elon has of recently come into substantial amounts of cash through selling his shares. So Elon buys this land and builds his university, the Texas Institute of Technology and Science. Not only would we expect a revolutionary new learning institute with outstanding technology, likely never before seen on any college campus, I would say the entire syllabus is oriented around jobs that will be related to robotics, AI, manufacturing, rockets, batteries, solar energy, and everything else related to Elon's endeavours. I recall Elon saying that one of his main constraints was actually engineers. He needs more engineers to grow more than anything. Yes, battery constrained, but engineers are the ones that relieve that constraint. I think if I recall, what he also said was that he really needed was a factory that makes engineers. Well, is it possible that that's what he's now building? A factory that makes his engineers? An institute of learning that actually makes engineers that he really needs? With courses that are extremely relevant to the various aspects of what is most important to Tesla as a company, along with career and education required to help the world transition to renewable energy. And would this not also be a career that many younger people would want to get into and feel that it is a future? They know the deal with Tesla. They've been somewhat indoctrinated at school about climate change too, and may feel obligated to help where they can, but need the necessary education first. These students are young and are worried about the future of this planet, especially when they have so much more future ahead of them when compared to most of us, let alone a planet that they'd actually want to leave to their children. What if there was an institute that provided the perfect education to help achieve them do their part to make a better planet. The Institute may even offer incentives to students that if they end up working for Tesla, then perhaps their tuition fees are subsidized. And then knowing that anyone who graduates may have a high chance or even a guaranteed position at Tesla, perhaps subject to their grades, or a skill set where they can niche into other research and start up their own businesses that will also benefit the planet in another way. The thing is, the green economy, well, it's going to be a big one. And it's also becoming highly profitable. Like I said, we've barely even begun too. If it's profitable now, then what's going to happen when batteries cost a quarter what they do now? And solar panels are half the cost they are today? What if subsidies from fossil fuels turned into tax on fossil fuels and further subsidized green energy instead? There's going to be so much more money to be made in this industry. We need the appropriate workers to fill these jobs. This is a much more exciting future, and these days technologies move so fast with so much disruption, it makes sense to get an education where you think there is a future. This is just vertical integration to another level that I honestly had never comprehended. I mean, vertical integration is generally thought of as taking on more levels of manufacturing processes, but Elon and Tesla have demonstrated how it can be taken to whole other levels, from possibly owning the mines to owning the products that are used as a service, and to even building their own robot labor. Which just goes to show to what level Elon's mind is working. Can you imagine hiring staff that have spent 3 to perhaps 5 years training on how to work for your specific company, with skills so germane to what Tesla require, and when these students finally graduate, they go into a job that is exactly what they've been trained for and know what to expect. And this land is also near the Austin Gigafactory too, so they could probably be taught certain elements on site even. Of course, this is just one institution. It could also be highly profitable too, meaning it may be feasible to replicate and disrupt traditional learning institutions. I would also hope that these fees would be significantly less than other colleges in the US, opening up such tertiary education to many more people who could not previously afford to get a degree, thus improving the overall human capital of the citizens with an education on how to best save the world. And who knows what levels of technology may be encompassed with this institution. There could be all sorts of online learning with free online courses for people who aren't able to attend. Tesla don't care so much if you do not have an Ivy League education. If you can do the job and do it competently, then you're hired. Perhaps showing that you have completed the free online courses will also get you a job too. Will Elon disrupt tertiary education as well? Like I said, engineers and other related talent are a major bottleneck for Tesla. Yes, it will most likely take years to build and set up, but eventually it will come into fruition. And as I keep saying, do not look at Tesla short term. It's a very long term game. Most of us aren't even thinking of selling our shares before 2030 anyway. But what if you kept holding on until, say, 2040? Perhaps we may even see some dividends before then, which is another reason never to have to sell if they finally generate income through dividends. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm much happier with the stock price continually rising 50% a year or so, with Tesla reinvesting everything into the company rather than offering dividends at perhaps a 1 or 2% yield. Anyway, just another way that Elon continues to impress me. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.